So for me, an ideal wine list is really a list that combines the skills and the variety in the kitchen with the team on the floor. I think very often there's a big disconnect. The chefs are busy cooking, preparing dishes. They have themes going on. They have seasonality, and then actually there's very little communication with the team on the floor and with the wines that they serve. So I think it's really important that there is more of a synergy in restaurants between the kitchen and the floor. What I love seeing in a wine list is also diversity. I think in a way, and I think a lot of people maybe will hate me for saying this, but having a wine list that only has famous champagnes, famous Bordeaux, famous Tuscans, is a bit of a lazy wine list, because it's very easy to have a wine list with just famous names that everybody knows what they are. And I think for me the great skill is in the sommelier being able to show their personality and show their curiosity and show that they understand the incredible variety that we're finding in the world of wine, and that they will feature a very unknown grape variety, even though it means they will have to hand sell that grape variety and spend time with the customer, with the client. And I think very often you just see very generic wine lists that could write that from anywhere in the world, because all the wines are being sold everywhere in the world. So I think it's really important that the sommelier really has their personality sort of carried through in the wine list. I think the wine list has to be seasonal. There's nothing worse than a static wine list that is the same every year, and the only thing that changes is the vintage. So we move from one year to another. It's exactly the same wine list, and it's just like the vintage is different, and you see a lot of that. And I think it's really important to keep up with the seasons. You don't want to drink the same stuff in winter as you want to drink stuff in spring, or you want to drink stuff in summer. And I think it's really important that the wine team is aware of this and has a big rotation and shows seasonality. But again, that's more work. So unfortunately, not many people do it well. I think it can be very small. I've seen great wine lists that have 20 wines on the list, but they change every week, or they change every 2 weeks. Or I've seen really great wine lists that have 500 bins. But when you have a list with 500 wines, do you know all these wines on that list? So for me, it doesn't matter. You can have 10, you can have 20, you can have 500. The key is, can you tell me about these 500 wines? Or are you better off having a 50 strong wine list, but you know all the wines intimately, so you can talk to people about it? And finally, obviously for me it's really important that we have a wine list that shows ethical choices. So very often the kitchen will work really hard at picking the best ingredient to go into the dishes, and I find that sometimes we're not as respectful of the ingredient as we might be for a wine list. So a wine list that also shows maybe wines that come from organic growers, natural growers, so there is diversity, and also more and more people are interested in those wines. People care about what they put in their body. And I personally think, you don't go to the restaurant to eat pesticides. Why should you drink pesticides? And I think it's really important that we're more and more aware of how wine is made. Wine is not natural. It's under 1% of all wine is made, really cleanly. So I think it's really important to have, if I was to summarize your question, because it's quite a big topic, but if I was to summarize, I'd say I want to see a wine list where the sommelier is really free to express what they want, and has the guts to just follow their own choices and fight for them. So that's the perfect wine list.